In this video, we're going to transform our propane facility mock-up into a finished product. That's coming up. Okay guys, so here's what I've been up to. I built the 4 sections of chain link fence, and I scratch built a smaller little valve house with a much smaller footprint. This was the building I had as a placeholder. So I'm going to use this smaller one, and then I'm going to take these tanks. I've decided I'm going to turn them and move them over this way. Makes that facility look a little bigger, and then I can move this valve house down this way a little bit. And I want that loading unloading platform to be kind of a prominent feature of this facility. Okay, so the first thing I need to do to get started here is I need to remove everything so we can get our backdrop installed. So I went on to Google Earth and I printed out some sections of a backdrop. I wanted a tree line, and this farmer's field works out great. It's going to give a little bit of depth. What I'm going to end up doing is I'll take about an inch off the bottom of this. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. But when I install my fencing against the backdrop, I'm going to hold it off the backdrop about 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch to just create that depth. That'll allow me room to install some trees, some longer static grass, some weeds, some clump foliage, just to create that depth and an idea that that's unkept. You won't see the backdrop a lot. It won't be the focus in this scene. The facility will be. This will just kind of blend into the back and give you that little belief that there's something beyond. So what I'm going to do is I'll get this trimmed up, I'll get this installed, and I'll come back. Alright guys, so I trimmed that 1 inch off the bottom of this section of photo backdrop, and then I just use a little bit of white glue to attach it. So the next thing I'll do is I'll get out some craft paint, and I'll clean up the tie-in point there along the bottom of the backdrop where it meets the shelf. So as I'm looking at this, guys, I think I need to add a layer of cork to where this facility, where the yard's going to be, because this track is set up right now the way it's balanced like it's a mainline track, and everything I saw in those prototypes didn't look like that. The track came in almost at the same level as the yard. They're not super well maintained, so I think I need to add a layer of cork in here to build that up about 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so I got the sheet cork installed where our propane facility is going to be within the yard area. I also put it where the building and parking lot are going to go, so everything got built up that 1/4 of an inch. It's going to blend a little better elevation wise with the rail as the spur line comes into the facility. Okay, so the next step is putting in some static grass in the rest of that scenery in that little area along the backdrop in between where our fence is going to go. So I just put some 100% white glue. I just used a brush to kind of cover the whole area, and then I just used my static grass applicator, and I used some 4 and 6 millimeter static grass that I had. I just threw a little bit of this, a little bit of that into the hopper, and then I went to town. Okay guys, so I'm putting in these trees that I got. I'm just using a pin vise, and I'm just kind of randomly throwing some holes in where I think a tree might look good. Kind of going Bob Ross, put in a happy little tree here, and then I just poke it in that hole, and that's it. That's simple. Again, just trying to merge the foreground into that background. I'm going to put some more grass in here, but you can see it's starting to blend in okay, and our facility is going to be the feature here. So I think once we get the fence in, a little bit of weeds along it, we'll be okay. I got 3 more trees here to do, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I got my trees in. I've got some foliage. This is just some foam. I've got a couple different colors of it. 100% Elmer's white glue. I haven't watered it down at all. And then I'm just going to use some tweezers to just kind of pinch it and set it. And I can just kind of do a little bit of shaping. And it just adds that you know, layering your scenery, it just adds a little bit more realism to it. And remember, this is all going to be outside of that fence. So once we get that fence installed, I think this is going to really start to shine as far as coming to life. So anyhow, that's how I do that. So I'll work my way around and then I'll come back. All right guys, so I got all of my ground foam cover in, but I'm gonna add a couple more. These are my fake sagebrush. My wife was at Hobby Lobby and she was looking at some of the fake flowers, and I found these. I don't know what the heck they are, but they were on a big thing, and I just clipped these off at the head. And tell me that those don't look like a thing of sagebrush. So I'm gonna put a couple of these in here. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm just gonna probably put 2. So here's a look at what a couple of those sagebrush kind of bushes look like. I may leave those, and we'll see what it looks like once we get the fence up, because the fence should block most of that. Remember, we're just trying to tie that in. The foreground's going to be the focal point of this whole thing, and then everything's going to blend into that background, which should just really be blended away. That's what I'm hoping for. All right guys, you can see I got the fencing installed. Our gates actually operate. So if I set our parking lot and office structure in here, we're just going to stage this real quick and show you how close we are to really bringing this thing to life. We'll put our storage tanks in here. We got to print the decals and apply those. That'll be coming up here. Here's our valve house that we built. Here's our loading and unloading platform. Let's roll a couple of tank cars in here. And you see how close we are to really finishing this thing off. Okay, so I've taken all of this little eye candy out of there for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this parking lot and our building to the layout here. And that way we can know the limits and we can ballast everything inside the yard area. And I can hit that with some 50/50 glue, and I can let it set overnight. And then I'll come back tomorrow, well, later in the video, and we'll finish this whole facility off. All right, so I'm ballasting the yard here. I'm just using number 30 sand that I've screened. I bought a bag of play sand. I talked about this in another video. But I use the spoon to place it, my finger, and this paintbrush here to shape it. And then I'll hit it with isopropyl alcohol and some 50/50 white glue water mix. All right guys, so I got the ballast all down in the yard area so it'll look like gravel, and I'm just gonna spritz it with isopropyl alcohol. I'll soak it down real good, and then I'm gonna hit it with some 50/50 white glue water mix, and I'll have to let this set probably overnight before it'll set up to where we can come back and work on this area. But we can keep working on our models. We got a bunch of painting and detail work, some decal stuff. So I'll hit this with some of the 50/50 mix, and we'll come back. Okay guys, so we're gonna make some decals for our propane facility. So what you need is some of this decal paper. It's the water slide stuff. This is I bought this a couple years ago and just started using it. This stuff is a little thicker, this Testors. I did buy another brand. We'll see if this works any better. But the main thing you want, make sure you got an inkjet printer, you get the inkjet. If you got a laser jet, get the laser jet. So the first thing that I did is I just got online and open up a window here, and then I'm gonna make an AmeriGas facility. So I want to go AmeriGas logo, and then you can pop in here to images, and you get all the logos you're looking for. And we're not, here you go, America's Propane Company. That one looks pretty cool. So what we'll do is we'll just copy that image, and we'll close this out. We'll close that out, and then I've done one sheet. So there's what one sheet did. I'm gonna back these out. And then just come in here. I tab over two because this paper's smaller. And then Control V, and then I can size it to what I'm looking for here. We got some new desks and that it's a glass top and my mouse isn't working very well on it. So once you get it kind of sized where you want it, Control C, I'm going to copy that, and Control V, I'm going to paste it, enter, Control V, I'll get another one started down below, tab it over a couple times, and then I'll resize this one. That looks pretty good. Control C, Control V, and I'll enter, tab, Control V. I might make a couple that are a little bigger. And what I do is I just make a variety of them, because I don't know exactly which size I'm going to end up using or not. So, and I'm not too worried about the trademark logo because I'm not selling these. I'm not using them commercially. I'm just using them on my layout. So I don't think that that's a big deal. I don't think you'll get in any trouble for that. But anyways, so I set up a page and then I just print it out and I'll show you. So I'm not going to save this. So here's the sheet that I printed out, and then what you have to do is hit this with a coat of sealer, like a coat of clear, to seal in the ink onto the water slide, and let that set up, and then you're ready to use these like any other water slide decal. So here's a look at our decals. I installed two of them on the storage tanks, and then I put another one on a little piece of O2O styrene and used it as a sign on our building. Okay guys, so here's a look at the finished product with all the models that we built in this video and the previous video. Look at how the backdrop and the foreground come together. That worked out really well. You can see the extra details. These are all models that we built in this video and the previous video. I did some more static grass along the front edge of the layout, along that fence line, and along the parking area. The black hoses on the unloading platform are just some light gauge electrical wire. Those worked out well. I made some electrical panels for the valve building, and there's one on the main building as well. Just lots of details. I'm not done. I'm going to keep adding details to this, but that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're into this kind of thing. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Happy railroading.